Good morning, it's Hump Day. You know what that means. Time for the SCWA Hump Day book tour. I'm your host, Maddie Margarita, here with SCWA's tech wizard, Diana Pardee. Every Wednesday at 10 a.m., the Southern California Writers Association turns our Facebook group over to a new and different writer to talk about their books and maybe share a writing tip or two. This morning, the SCWA Hump Day book tour welcomes Shawn Reilly Simmons. Shawn was born in Indiana, grew up in Florida, and began her professional career in New York City as a sales executive for an international airline after graduating from the University of Maryland with a BA in English. She's the author of 7 novels in the Red Carpet Catering Mystery series featuring Penelope Sutherland, chef owner of a movie set catering company. She's also written several short stories, which have been published in various anthologies, including, here we go, Shawn, Burnt Orange in Passport to Murder, the 2017 Bouchercon Anthology, the Prodigy, and Mystery Tour, the Crime Writers Association Anthology, and Now is the Hour in Writers Crushing COVID-19. Shawn's story, The Last Word, appearing in Malice Domestic 14, a mystery most edible, I love that, won the Agatha Award for the best short story in 2020. Shawn also won the Anthony Award for Best Anthology or Collection for co-editing the same anthology. You are a busy person, Shawn.
Yes, you could say that. You could say that for sure.
Well, I can say that because we talked a little bit beforehand, and I know you're a busy person. So, of the many hats that you wear, let's talk about your writing hat and your series a little bit. Talk about the Penelope Sutherland. Let's start with her. Where did your character come from? Your series character?
So yes, thank you very much, first of all, for having me. I appreciate being here, and it's lovely to meet you this way. This is the first book. I wrote this book. I don't know if you can say Murder on a Silver Platter. This came out several years ago. That's the first one. Penelope is a chef, a young chef owner of a catering company that works mainly on movie sets. And it was inspired by my sister and I. My sister mostly did it, and I would go and help her, and we worked on a movie together. So it's a job that I've done before. I was inspired by culinary authors that I've admired for a long time. And I've been, reading in traditional mysteries for a long time, but I've never seen a culinary mystery that had that sort of premise with the movie tie-in. So I thought, okay, this will be my thing. So I sat down and wrote the first one, and then the second one, and then all the way to the 7th one. So it just continued on from there.
So how did you decide to start writing the series?
Well, I've always wanted to be a writer since I was really little. I decided around 8 years old or so that that was going to be the job. That's what I wanted to be. So everything was always geared towards that growing up. I always wrote. I won Best Creative Writer in my high school. When I graduated, I got a certificate. I was encouraged by professors in college to write, but I never thought I was ready because I was too, my college professor said I was turning in short stories, and she said, "You're ready to write a novel." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm 19. don't know. Wow. I don't know anything. I'm working at a bar in an office to put myself through school. I mean, what am I going to, I just didn't understand. I did not think I had enough life experience yet. So then I had gained some more life experience. I worked in marketing and different things. But I always had that in my mind. Like I always wanted to write. And then I finally felt like I could. And then I had my son, and I was working, and I said, okay, I'm going to stay home, and I'm going to write that novel because I'm going to have all this time, and it'll be great. And of course, you do have time, but you're pretty tired. So I just would get up in the morning before he woke up and write, or during nap time or whatever. And I finished that first book. And I just sat down and said, what is it that what is it going to be? And that's when I sort of started thinking about the culinary aspect of it. I thought I was writing a book about movies because I also love movies. But then my publisher said, you wrote a culinary mystery. I'm like, oh yeah, she is a chef. Okay, so it's culinary mystery. So it's movies and food are my favorite things. But yeah, that's how it kind of came about.
What is your favorite thing about her and about the world that you've created? Because I read some of the reviews for your books, and so many of them said, I can't wait for the next one because I just love being with the characters, and I feel like I'm back with old friends. How did you go about creating that world and making it so that people want to come back to it all the time?
Well, that's so sweet. That is so nice to hear. And and it's always encouraging as a writer to hear those things. It's not like people didn't walk away like, glad that's over, so that's good. That's a good thing, I think. Well, Penelope, I think what I love most about it is her. And I really, it's funny because she's, I think when we set out to write, like, what is my character going to be? And for me, she's loosely based on me and people that I know, but she's not anything really like me. I mean, she had stuff figured out way earlier than I did, for one thing. And she has her own business, and I always wanted to have like a strong, independent female central character. And I kind of gave her, I mean, she has a family, but she's not connected to her family very well. There's no animosity or anything. She just is just like an only child. She doesn't have a lot of siblings or anything like that. And her parents are older, and they don't live near her. So she sort of has created this family of her own with her friends. Like, she's severely, very, very loyal to her friends. And a lot of times she gets herself in these situations because she's helping a friend or defending a friend, or gets involved in someone else's, business if they get accused of murder or whatever. So, but that is my favorite thing, is having this cast of characters that I've built, because, you're born with your family, and that's wonderful. But then through life, you create a family of your friends that they're dear to you, and they're just as close to you in some ways as your own, DNA family, as I like to say. So that's my favorite thing, is having her and her little universe of family that she's made.
Well, and when you first started writing the series, did you think, oh, I'm going to have X number of books, and this is what's going to happen, and this is what this is her series arc, and this is her character arc? And did you have that all laid out? Did you have that in your mind at all? Or were you like, oh, I'm just glad to finish this book?
Yeah, no, I did not have any of that in mind at all. It just happened. I was happy if I sat down that day and wrote and got the words out. And that was as far as the headlights went, as far as I could see. And that just made sure that I had enough of those days in a row to come up with a book at the end. And then I got to the end of the first book, and I just didn't write the last chapter. And for whatever reason, I mean, I knew what the last chapter was going to be, but I couldn't make myself sit down to write it. It was the last couple chapters, and I couldn't do it. And my husband said to me, like, what are you up to? Like, you've been working on this for months, and now you're not going to finish it. I said, I'm going to finish it. I just need to do all these things I need to reorganize the house first. I need to do all these things. He's like, no, you need to sit down.
A lot of laundry going on here. I don't know.
This is also important. I need to do these things. No, he's like, no, you need to sit down. So I think I had that fear of finishing it, because it was like, oh, then you're gonna have to show it to people, and it's gonna be done. Yeah, I wrote a book, and I had to get over that speed bump in my own head. But that was, so that's how much I planned. Zero, none. It was like nothing.
So that's interesting. So now she is in a different place. What is it's the most recent one I had my notes in front of me, Murder on the Chopping Block. Is that right?
Yes.
So she is in a much different place now than she was in the first book. So how did you decide? She's got a boyfriend and things are happening. How did that play out in your mind? She's not Jack Reacher, she's not the same in every book. How did you decide her path?
Well, I always, I wanted her to progress through the books. After I knew that I had a contract, so I got one contract for 3 books. And then when I signed that one, I'm like, okay, I know I have at least 3 books. So I think at the end of the third, I was going to say, okay, there has to be some kind of end point where if it ends here, we can walk away and everyone's happy. I didn't want to leave her with a huge life crisis or something, that didn't seem fair.
Because they come after you if you do that.
I was like, I don't want to make everyone, not that, a million people, but, enough people be angry. And then right as I think I was starting the third book, I got extended for another 3. So it's like, oh, okay, here we go. Now I can make it. So that's sort of how it went. It's like, oh, now I have 6 books to get to whatever endpoint it can be. And that's just sort of how it just organically happened. But I wanted her to age and progress and go through challenges for each book, because I just feel like for me, I like reading those kind of characters. I think it's more realistic. I connect to those kind of characters more than just, not that I don't love other kinds of books, but for me, that was important to me to see that she had a growth for each book and, evolved.
So you do a lot of other things besides the writing of your series, and you see a lot of other writing. What do you think is the biggest mistake mystery writers make that you run into when you're reading and editing and judging and all sorts of things that you do?
Sometimes I think people start off with a great idea, and then there's a really, really strong beginning, and then it just sort of falls apart in the middle. and then maybe there's not a satisfying ending. So I think, you know, you really have to follow through. And I think some of that comes in second, third, fourth, and fifth drafts when you're going back through. And I think maybe I think you get exhausted after you read it once or twice. So I always advise people to put it away, work on something else like a short story or another project, or go like redecorate your house or something, and then come back to it in a few weeks. And I think you get a revive, you know, you get revived from it, and you can see the issues and see where you need to go, or maybe things you would change or cut that ending altogether. But I think if we get too fatigued from the material, we just sort of like, I can't do it anymore. Here it is, just take it, you know, that kind of thing. So I think that's a good strategy.
Sometimes you just have to get up and change your clothes.
Yeah, change your
attitude. That's your break. Get up and change your clothes, and then get back to it.
Yeah, go and have a meal, and it'll be fine the next day. It's gonna, you know, change your mindset.
Right. So, just so people know, I think it's such a fun premise, and she's such a great character. But there's more to it than just like the mysteries and the character and everything. When somebody closes a book that you write, what do you hope that they feel? What are you hoping to leave them with when they close the book?
Definitely a feeling of satisfaction of a job well done. You know, the mystery is solved. The characters have gone through some kind of challenges that maybe you can connect with, and even if you don't agree with how they resolve them, it's something to think about. And sometimes I think even if they go through a challenge and they would pick a totally opposite thing that you would do, it makes you think about it and sort of enlighten you on how other people might feel about different things. But yeah, that's I want everyone to enjoy them. I want the mystery to be challenging enough where it's not easily solvable from page 40, but also not too hard where it's cheating. So mystery.
Right. So, and again, getting back to your history of reading a lot of other people's work, what do you think makes your series different in your mind when you're writing it? What do you think sets this series apart from other mystery series?
Well, mine is unique, I think, in the sense that it's a traditional mystery, which generally means like a small community where there's this close set of characters, and there's this, you know, a town, and everyone's sort of there. So my books take place in a different location each time, but my city is a film set. Because when you're on a film set, I noticed when I was working on a few of them, people come together to make this project happen. There's like 300 or 400 people on the set. So there's people that are acting, there's people that are cooking, there's people that are building sets, and there's costume people and makeup. And so it's like a community that comes together in this one space for a limited amount of time, and then they go off and do another project somewhere else. So that is my small town that I create in each book. So my stories take place in New York City, but it's New York City is massive, but my city is small within New York City. So that's what I think. I just wanted to keep it fresh that way and not have it always be, although I do love mysteries that take place in the same town and you get to know the town, you know, as well as the other characters. But for me, I think that's what differentiates mine from the regular traditional mysteries.
Well, I always wonder why these people don't move from these towns, because they have so many murders. Yeah. So I would never live in Cabot Cove. I'm just saying, for me, I would never do that. Okay, so I appreciate that, because we have readers and writers who tune in. And I think that makes everybody think a little, writers maybe think a little harder to write better, and readers appreciate what you're doing so much more when you think about how much work and how much thought goes into writing these stories and books. And you should be very proud of them. I hope you are.
Oh, thanks. That's so sweet. Thank you.
Where can people find your books?
Well, they're available everywhere that you can buy books. They're traditionally published through a publisher, so they're, you know, available most places online you can get them. I know I'm in a lot of libraries around the country, which is always so cool for me because I love libraries, and my book shows up in random library systems like in, you know, North Carolina and New York and whatever. So that is really fun for me and a badge of honor, because I just love libraries. I grew up in libraries. Yeah, and then my website is my name.com, ShawnReillySimmons.com, and you can follow me there. Well, it's links out to everywhere I am, so that's where you can find me.
Okay, and your latest murder on the chopping block takes place in California, right?
It does, yeah.
So all you Cali people out there, And if you can, buy Shawn's book, if you can afford it. Like you said, they're in libraries. You can maybe borrow them, read them. Writers love when you buy their books. If you can't afford to do that, they love reviews. So if you want to support her, support our writers, please leave reviews of their books. We live for reviews. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, Shawn. Best of luck.
Thank you. This was lovely. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a lot of fun.
It was, and I told you it would go by quick.
It does.
It does. It goes by really fast. Well, I hope everybody who's listening enjoyed this as much as we did. If you enjoy book shots like this, you can go to the Southern California Writers Association Facebook page, and we keep these videos on our page. We also keep them on our YouTube channel, which is SCWA Writers Online. So if you'd like to review this or share this conversation with Shawn with a friend, you can go to YouTube and share it there, and also see other book shots that we've done in the past. So we are looking forward to seeing your next book. Do we have a next book coming out?
The series is on a bit of a break, but it will be coming eventually, hopefully soon. But in the meantime, I've been writing a ton of short stories. That would be, I think I'm in 4 or 5 anthologies this year. So yeah, I'll have I think, my next short story is Murder on the Beach anthology is coming out Memorial Day weekend. And we're very excited about that. There's 8 authors in that book, and they're all fun beach stories. And I'm a beach person, so I'm very excited about this anthology.
All right, so we're going to look for that. And so until then, we wish you luck, and then we'll see everybody next week on the SCWA Hump Day Book Tour.